Welcome to this tutorial on how to create your very own internet radio station, as we have done here with the station dubbed BIF 2.0. You're going to be introduced to the hardware and setup behind creating your own internet station. I recommend watching this video once to see if you have the hardware, and then again while you're actually setting up the station. Let's get started. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about how we've set up our radio station and how you could set up your own internet radio station, really in a very simple basis. First of all, what can you do with an internet radio station? Well, you can do whatever you want. You can put in any audio source you feel like, whether that be YouTube clips, microphones for people speaking, music, really whatever. It's up to you. Now on our station, we have an Optimod audio processor. What that does is that normalizes all of our audio. Now that all goes into our Dell streaming computer, and this is where you'll focus most of your efforts on the setup of the shoutcast station. This computer needs to have at least a 1.5 gigahertz processor and 512 megabytes of RAM, and be running on a Windows-based system. Ours is running on Windows XP. It also works with Windows 2000, XP, 7, and Vista. The program that you're going to be using is really twofold. You're going to be using Winamp, and you're going to be using the Shoutcast DNAS server. This Dell streaming computer is what is running the server, so that when listeners connect to your station, that's what they're connecting to. So that connection, that Ethernet connection for that station, hopefully it's Ethernet, not wireless, needs to be stable, steady, and strong. Now you're probably also behind some sort of router or gateway. And what you're going to have to do there is something called port forwarding, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Once you have the correct hardware set up, it is now time to get the free software used for broadcasting. The system that I will be showing you uses a free service called Shoutcast. Shoutcast is run by America Online, and it is not some hacker site. It's completely legitimate, and is the easiest and cheapest way to set up your station. On your broadcasting computer, you need to download 3 pieces of software. All of these can be downloaded from shoutcast.com. First, you need the Distributed Network Audio Server, DNAS. This is the module that broadcasts your stream and allows users to connect to your server, aka your broadcast computer. I would highly recommend getting version 1.9.8 at the time of this filming, as version 2.0 doesn't seem to work. Second, you need your audio playback and input program that feeds the server module. For this, you can use several programs, namely Sam Broadcaster, Winamp, and others. For this video, I will be showing you how to use the free Winamp. Winamp has functions similar to iTunes. Finally, you will need the plugin for Winamp to allow it to communicate with the DNAS module. Install all of these files after downloading them. Basically, your DNAS server will be broadcasting on a specific port, normally port 8000. A port is basically a subset of your Internet Protocol or IP address. What you need to do is log into your router or modem and forward port 8000 from your internal IP address to your external IP address so that the yellowpages.shoutcast.com can see your station. Open up a browser window and type in the IP address of your router or modem. Generally, it is 192.168.1.1, but not always. Look this up for your specific device. You will also need to know the username and password. If you have never set this, it is the default, which you can look up for your specific device. Once in, go to the port forwarding page, somewhere under Gaming and Applications, and forward ports 8000 and 8001 from your broadcast computer's internal IP address. If you don't know this internal IP address, it is always 192.168.something. To check this something, in the Windows command prompt, type ipconfig/all. This will show your internal IP address somewhere in that list. Use this to port forward. Now that the hard networking part is over, you need to set up your server. The DNAS server has several settings that users can change, such as the maximum number of listeners, port to broadcast on, etc. Personally, I have never had a need to change these, but if you ever need to, there is a configuration file in the Program Files folder where the server was installed. By the way, the default is a maximum of 32 listeners and port 8000. Get the server console version running. It will look like a command prompt, but you will not need to be able to type anything. This window must be open at all times to be broadcasting. Now we need to set up our playback machine, Winamp. As I said earlier, Winamp is very similar to iTunes in several ways. I would start by putting some songs in Winamp. They need to be in WAV or MP3 format. In the machine here, we only use MP3 files because of their minimal space required and good sound quality. Putting songs in Winamp is really self-explanatory. Just drag them in. Once songs are loaded, start playing one near the top so others continue to play. I may even set it to repeat the playlist when done. Now you need to send the audio from Winamp to the DNAS. This is where that plugin comes in. In Winamp, under Preferences, click Plugins, then click on the Shoutcast plugin. Here is where you set the broadcast preferences and can change where the audio is coming from, either the line in to the sound card or Winamp playing music. In the IP address field, type localhost, one word. This will broadcast directly to the DNAS which is now running. Also type port 8000 in the port field. Make sure that legacy mode is checked since you are using version 1.9.8 of the DNAS module. Finally, check Auto Connect and make sure that the input source is Winamp if you will be using that, or line in if you will be using that. Now we should be broadcasting. It's time to verify that you are online. Check your DNAS server and make sure that it is recognizing the input from Winamp. If after a couple seconds it says NAK error, you have not port forwarded, have a firewall on, or there's something else that is preventing yp.shoutcast.com, YP stands for Yellow Pages, from seeing your server. If you have no errors, you need to wait for a while until your station is, quote, touched. When it is touched, that basically means that yp.shoutcast.com recognized your station and is now broadcasting on it. Now you can go to shoutcast.com and search for your station by name. If it is there and playing your music, you are set up. Now let's say you wanted to broadcast from your very personal website. Well, you can go to the shoutcast.com, search for your station, open up the little window to play your station, and then click Copy Embed Code. Then you need to embed that HTML code right into your website, and if you don't have a personal website, I recommend using Google Sites, and then you can play your Shoutcast station from your website like we do here for BIF 2.0. Hello, this is your lawyer talking. See, to run songs through your Shoutcast station, you need to have licensing fees paid. You need to pay to 3 different organizations for specific internet licensing. Those 3 are ASCAP, CSAC, and BMI. If you're running an educational station, you can get a discount. So be aware of these legalities and make sure that you're within the law.